The Indigo Disc DLC for Pokémon Scarlet and Violet has brought us even more Hisuian Pokémon back from the past. Once again, it was never outright stated these Pokémon were extinct in modern day, but at the very least they don't appear as often as they used to. So now at the second part of the Treasure of Area Zero DLC, we've been reintroduced to Hisuian Qwilfish and Overqwil, as well as Kleavor. What are they doing here? Well, let's take a closer look. So first of all, we should note that all the wild Pokemon we find here exist in the Terrarium. This is an artificial landscape made up of 4 biomes that is built underneath the Blueberry Academy as a way for students to gain experience, as well as to probably serve as a means of preserving these Pokemon. So this isn't a place Pokemon are necessarily native to, especially as we see Alolan forms running around in an environment made for them. Rather, all these Pokemon are imported here. I think in the case of Hisuian Qwilfish and Overqwil, they were brought in from wherever they were previously. The new Scarlet and Violet Pokédex entries don't really tell us a lot aside from the fact that they make their homes in colder climates. It could be possible that as time went on in the Hisui region, global warming caused the surrounding waters to not be as cold and thus they've migrated elsewhere, explaining why they don't appear in modern day Sinnoh. A similar explanation to a lot of other Hisuian Pokemon. I think that's pretty valid, though wherever they've moved to, they're still called Hisuian Qwilfish because that's where they were originally discovered. When it comes to Kleavor, that one's pretty interesting. Now, in order to evolve Scyther into Kleavor, you need an item called the Black Augurite. This is pretty rare in Hisui as is, so in the future it's probably near impossible to find. Thus why Kleavor no longer appears in the region. But in the terrarium that has environments tailor-made for Pokemon, we can see that this one mountain has a lot of it lying around. This is also where you can find Kleavor as a fixed spawn Pokemon. So that's the explanation. Kleavor appears in the terrarium because there's a deposit of Black Augurite. But I found myself asking, where did this come from? Well, we know that the Academy has no shortage of funding, so they could probably acquire it pretty easily. Though I did get thinking. So LACEY is one of the new characters we meet in the Indigo Disc. The gems on her hair clips bear a resemblance to the gem that we see on Clay's hat. So from her initial reveal, there were some theories that they could be related. After playing the DLC, we get some confirmation that her father is a gym leader here in the Unova region, who she describes as having a scary looking appearance. Also, her ace Pokemon is Excadrill, so it's pretty obvious. Clay is the father. Now, Clay is a businessman in the mining industry. He knows about Blueberry Academy because his daughter attends it, so it could be possible that he was responsible for assisting in providing the Black Augurite for the terrarium. It doesn't even have to be exclusive to the Hisui region, it could be something present everywhere if you can dig it up. And Clay would know that this material is important for Kleavor because of his ancestor Leanne, who was the warden for the noble Kleavor back in Hisui, who potentially passed down stories of the Pokemon. A bit of headcanon more than theory and not necessarily something that needs to be proven, but I think there's some nice pieces that all fit together. Just the fact that they're continuing to build even more family trees in the Pokemon universe is pretty cool, especially with how they've all been unique characters with their own interests but are still all unified under a theme of digging. I also think it's so funny that the 2 recent characters introduced who are related to Clay are just very different and not what you would expect. LACEY is a fun character, being the one who gives us the tutorial stuff once we set foot in the Academy, but also has a fun little challenge of a Pokemon-based quiz as part of her trial. The way she just loves cute Pokemon, appreciating all these ones with their own little quirks, using mostly fairy types in her team and still keeping Excadrill, it's amazing. I wouldn't think most people would consider that a cute Pokemon, but putting a big heart-shaped crown on its head does something for it. Anyway, I'm glad that despite a lot of the Hisuian forms and evolutions not being all that present in modern day Sinnoh, Pokemon is still finding ways to bring them into the current games aside from just Pokemon Home and distributions. And Kleavor has been great to have here. I've been using one on my second playthrough during live streams and it's actually putting in some work. I'm really becoming an even bigger fan of it with the DLC. So let me know what you think in the comments below about the Pokemon we can find in the giant dome of the Blueberry Academy, and let me know what you're thinking of the DLC so far as a whole. I'm still finishing up a lot of the additional post-game and lore stuff, so there will be a lot more videos in the coming weeks, but for now I just wanted to talk about some of the reintroduced Pokemon and growing families. Well, anyway, I'll be off. I think I should probably get back to chipping away at those videos. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, especially the great Gators. Alex Switz, Cheeseburger Lasers, Cryptid Games, DeAndre, Dunkachino II, Jen Eric, It's Mr. 800, Justin Dowes, Justin R, Cosmo Zero, Mazhar Siddiqui, Meme Supreme, Nomad Nobi, Phantom, Pio the Genius, Quago, Savion Washington, Sean, Taijirai, Volity, and Pastel Blood. If you would like to support, get a shout out here as well as access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter for more memes and Twitch for more streams. Anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
You can conquer new opponents with Pokemon Trading Card Game Black and White Noble Victories. Over 50 newly discovered Pokemon, plus a TCG Online code card in every theme deck. Each theme deck of 60 cards sold separately, 1 code card per theme deck.